Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this first orientation session that we have for the mandatory implementation of the Kaushal Bodh textbooks and vocational education that is going to become mandatory as part of the recommendation of National Education Policy and the This textbook has been released by NCERT for class 6, 7, and 8 and talks of implementing vocational education under the 3 forms of work. How the schools are going to implement it, whether you will need a new infrastructure or you will need to appoint more teachers or you will need to train the existing teachers, that is what we'll be discussing today. The idea is to ensure the cross-curricular approach of vocational education and linking it with all the academic subjects also, so that the students, while learning academics, subject and other subject, have a hang of the things and do things by hand in the school. For that, CBSE has already mandated the setting up of a composite skill lab in the schools. So once that labs are set up and space is provided, it will make it much easier for the schools to implement vocational education and skill education in its entirety and as it has been planned. So the whole idea of training the existing lot of teachers and making sure that schools understand the whole policy and the rationale behind mandating skill education from class 6 onwards. One thing that we need to understand is that from class 6 to 8, it is basically an awareness about skill education. It is not that children will be converting it into a career. They will be exposed to different kind of vocations which they can choose once they come to class 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. That will be the year when they will be deciding upon the careers and vocations as they move forward. So to explain more about this whole concept and the flow and the strategy that CBSE has planned to make sure that enough number of teachers are trained, and we would like to get it all the schools who are affiliated with CBSE to go through this program and make sure that the teachers understand. So now, Dr. Biswajit Saha, who will explain the whole process. We are also joined by the faculty from NCERT. Professor Dr. Vinay Swarup Malhotra ji is here. He will also give us the rationale behind the textbooks that have been designed. Besides this, NCERT has also released a handbook on implementation of vocational education at the middle school. This we will be discussing in detail, and the same has been made available on the NCERT website. So to take the proceedings further, I would request Dr. Biswajit Saha, Professor and Director, Department of Skill Education, CBSE, to address the gathering and tell us about the whole program. Over to you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. R.P. Singh. First of all, let me welcome all the lead facilitators to this program. Of course, resource persons from NCERT and LAHI, and of course, those who have joined us, the teachers, principals of various affiliated schools from different part of the country. You have joined us through our YouTube link. It's a matter of pride at this moment because new education policy 2020 followed by national curriculum framework for school education. Its vision actually that we try to emphasize that how education must move beyond the rote learning to competency-based learning, and how we can make the education more experiential and skill-based. So Kaushal Bodh here in turn actually going to operationalize this vision. It helps the school to embed the skill awareness, and also how teachers can appreciate the practical learning in all stage of schooling. So of course, in this forum, we are going to discuss about 6, 7, 8, but truly speaking, from 6 to 10, that compulsory inclusion of skilling, and also how activity-based learning can be promoted in the early years. So in turn, the entire cohort till grade 10 would be more hand-oriented. Rather, of course, we are going to value the cognitive skills and how it is connected with your socio-emotional, that is heart. And followed by the practical learning, that is your hand. So Gandhiji's head, heart and hand, that interconnections, I think it would be incomplete if Kaushal Bodh is not understood in true spirit. So we want to promote this from this session itself, but there are certain confusions because in the mid of the session, so once we are requesting, that means how truly we can involve into this journey, that depends on the interest of the school. Now it is very easy to avoid this journey till 31st March 2026 and may tell that we are going to start from 1st April. But every new journey needs some kind of pre-experience. So we are requesting all the school to look into the Kaushal Bodh curricula, Kaushal Bodh training, handbook, and how it can be essentially offered in the school premises without hesitation and without incurring much investment or even without involving a new teachers in the school premises. So existing teachers, existing infrastructure in school, how we can optimally or meaningfully utilize for the purpose of, or rather ensuring the holistic development. I think Kaushal Bodh could be one of its kind, where it will one way trying to strengthen the readiness of career, and how another way it would also push the lifelong learning. So one way it is going to bridge between the academic learning and skill education, because the teachers who are dealing the TGT, because 6, 7, 8 TGT who are dealing with the academic, core academic subjects like social science, English, many language, or even science or maths, they can also involved into teaching Kaushal Bodh. And here the cross-curricular approach we can bring, and how we can promote project-based learning in school. I think Kaushal Bodh would be one of the best example for cross-curricular integration and also promoting project-based learning right from the beginning. So expert here, Professor Merutra and others are going to give you the detailed presentations through which, or rather some kind of deliberation through which how in the early years a kind of employability skills we can push. It is not that post 6, 7, 8 somebody is going to ask for a job, but here we want to create a value in the schooling so that they really aware of the surrounding, and secondly what kind of activity they can carry out besides their academic interventions. So one way, innovation, entrepreneurial journey, and gradually creating a landscape through which they can essentially sail to different forms of projects, whether it is related to machine, related to man, or related to materials, and they can combine it towards a sustainable outcome. So with this note, let me pause here. I think more to say, because and through this forum, let me also announce and inform to all concerned, because Mr. R.P. Singh has already mentioned that we are going to mandate the composite skill lab, which can carry out different kind of experiment in school premises. Here we don't want a composite skill lab should cater only one agenda. So at least 2 to 3 skill minimum it should cover, so that this kind of experiment under Kaushal Bodh for 6, 7, 8 and gradually for 9, 10 and 11, 12, everything can be carried out under one umbrella. And wherever the school faces some issue with the infrastructure and other things, how existing infrastructures can be utilized to implement Kaushal Bodh, I think together we can explore and we will make it a true reality. Once again, thank you for joining us. And over to you, Mr. R.P. Singh. We can invite the experts, or in between, those who have joined us through Google Meet, you can be ready with the questions. And also we can take some questions through the YouTube link. You can give some link to the participant school principal and their team members, so that we can answer a few to them, and post that from tomorrow there would be lead facilitator training, the physical training program. There, whatever question the participants are going to flag, that in nutshell, I'll request our team member to come up with a kind of FAQ for the website. So those teachers, those principal school leaders are facing problem with implementing Kaushal Bodh in the mid session, they will get the answer. And anytime we are available through our digital forum and also through our other network. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for
Thank you, sir.
breaking down the whole plan. And the questions can participants can share the question in the comments too, and they can ask them here also. We would like to answer as many questions as possible, as much the time permits us to do that.
You can also, RP, you can also mention the teachers training plan in between the question answer, or maybe later, because that messy plan of teachers training initially through the our lead facilitator, then master trainer, and how many teachers we are going to cover in coming 3 months. Let the school, let us inform to all the school and let them come up with their own teachers proposals, so that we can train them on time. Thank you.
Ji, sir. Thank you, sir. So through this platform, I would like to inform about the strategy of the training. We'll discuss in the presentation also. The strategy is 3-step strategy. The first step is identification of the lead facilitators. Wherein we would request working principals as well as retired principals to come on board and become lead facilitators. These lead facilitators will then train the master trainers in the regions, in the respective regions. Every regional officer and the head COE has been requested to select a group of 40 to 50 master trainers from among the resource pool that they have. These master trainers will in turn have training programs with the respective teachers in the region around. So if we look at the multiple, the lead facilitators will be requested to do 1 to 2 programs per region and train a group of around 100 master trainers, who will in turn conduct a batch size of 40 teachers. They can conduct multiple programs with the COE with the batch size of 40 to 50 people. In the next 3 months, the target is to reach as many teachers and schools as possible. For the sake of quantity, we are putting it around 30,000 teachers to be trained in the next 3 months. This will go on for one whole session. Then we'll have a feedback sessions with the teachers and trainers, and at every point of time, we would be collecting the feedback from the participants as well as from the resource pool also, to understand the effectiveness of the training that is happening in the field. This will be done through WhatsApp, maybe through online mode, through emails, or through a dedicated platform which we are working on. So the importance of understanding the whole policy at every step is more important, so that when you are doing interacting the whole policy on the field, you are available for that purpose. You are aware of your own role, and you are aware of the expectations from the audience that you are catering to. The overall idea is that everybody speaks the same language. Everybody understands the whole policy as it has been designed, so that we are able to effectively transact the textbook and the policy on the field. Before we request Dr. Mehrotra to address the audience, we have prepared a small presentation. I would request Anubhav Singh, who is a senior manager and one of our resource pool here, to share the presentation with the audience, so that we have a clear understanding of what is happening. And then before Dr. Mehrotra comes in, everybody is on the same page. Over to you, Anubhav, and I think you can share the presentation now. I would request the IT team to make sure that the presentation is shared.
Noted, sir. Thank you so much. And I have the presentation. Let me share the presentation. Is my screen visible to everyone?
Yes.
Yes, it's visible.
अनुभव आपका वॉइस इको हो रहा है आसपास में और कोई सिस्टम शायद ऑन है
चाय पीनी है?
Okay, sir. Okay. So thank you so much, Dr. Saha sir and RP sir, for setting the context right. And namaskar sabhi ko. Good afternoon. With the onset of this such a context, I would quickly jump into the implementation plan and why Kaushal Bodh is needed and how it could be sort of taken to all the schools here, as we envisage to take to 30,000 schools now. Now, one of the things that has been made very clear is that the implementation has to be mandatorily implemented in all the schools effective 25-26 academic session. And in order to achieve this, there has been a plan of rampant trainings across all the schools and master trainers and lead facilitators. That's the trajectory, as RP sir has already appraised everyone. Now, for this session, I think the flow of the discussion would be a brief introduction to and background to the national education policy and the national curricular framework. From there, we'll move on to quickly give a brief introduction to what is Kaushal Bodh. I understand that we have heard the name and we have seen the textbook, but just for the common understanding of everyone who has joined this discussion here. And the third one is largely around overall training plan by CBSE for Kaushal Bodh. So that's how this flow of the session would look like. Quickly moving on to the introduction and background to the NEP and NCF. I'm sure that we all have gone through and we've had the chance to look at the national education policy and the national curricular framework. But two important things that stands out in one is that how do we create a capability and relevance to real life context, and we create a readiness for future pathways for our students. That's one which is very importantly brought out in the national education policy. And then therefore, how do we create a core component of holistic education? And taking it forward, there is then the National Curricular Framework School Education 2023 laid down the implementation guidelines. Now, this provides a very concrete guideline and curriculum along with the pedagogy and the assessment frameworks as well, so that there's not doubts or there are no confusion around it, how to take it forward. Now, the question arises that why does we feel there's a need of introducing skill education in an early stage? One of the things that has been noted is that only 5% of Indian youth gets formal skill training as compared to 50 to 90% in developed countries like US, Germany, and South Korea. And that sort of pivots the foundational economy of the country, therefore, and more skilled labor is required as and when we are progressing towards a growing economy of our country. Second thing is that the skill education has focused largely on 11th and 12th so far. Also, CBSE has made significant impact and brought out courses and done significant job in introducing 9th and 10th as well, skill courses. However, grade 6 to 8 will give another push to it. The third thing is around how skill education is perceived inferior to mainstream education, and that's something that we all need to work towards together on this. Now, what is the mandate for skill education? One very clearly stated. I think we all must have understood by now that there has to be no rigid separation between skill and academic subjects. All students will learn one skill subject and exposed to several more. Okay, and the third one is integration of skill education into mainstream education as a mandatory subject. And fourth one largely is that exposure to skill education has to be given from 6 to 8 onwards now. And in that realm only, NCERT has introduced this curriculum of the Kaushal Bodh, which is now introduced for grade 6, 7th and 8th respectively. We will get into the details and the framework of the Kaushal Bodh later in the slides.
Anubhav, can you please maximize your slides?
It is not in the slide mode.
No, not yet.
One second. Is it now in the slide mode?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Good to
Thank you so much. Thank you for prompting that. Moving ahead. So what is Kaushal Bodh? Kaushal Bodh is essentially an activity booklet for grade 6 to 8 developed by NCERT, like I said. And the book introduces the vocational education first time in the middle grade. There has been a precursor activity like pre-vocational and 10 bagless days. But right now there is a structured curriculum. The need for structured curriculum was felt and it has been introduced after a lot of contribution and public discussion. And the purpose of the activity work is to introduce to the world of work in meaningful ways, develop life skills and basic skills along with values and vocational capabilities, and then generate a realization that how every type of work has a value in and around and our living cohabitation, and also realizing the dignity of labor. So this focuses on dignity of labor and everyone's work matter. That's an important idea.
दोनों जगह पर अलग-अलग होगा ना?
May I request all participants to mute themselves? Okay. Now, going forward, the three forms of work, which has been very clearly stated in the National Curricular Framework 2023, and the entire education design is pivoted right now on the three forms of work. These are the forms of work that constitute the basic and the foundations of economy of our country. Starting one is working with life forms. Now, working with life forms has six projects in total for grade 6, 7th, and 8, 2 in each grade. Similarly, working with machine and material forms, it will also have 2 projects in each grade and 6 in total. And then working with human services. The names are self-intuitive and it can give you an idea of what the projects could look like, but I would still urge each and every one of you to go and read the textbook once and take a glimpse through it. Largely working with life forms, it talks about working on the school kitchen garden, planting nursery, and then working on hydroponics. These are things which CBSE has already been doing in some another form, but right now the idea is that how do we structure this and bring this together under one curriculum. Similarly, working with machines is making catapults or maker skills, tie-and-dye activities, or working with wood and bamboos, etc. And then working with human services, essentially around cooking without fire, family health handbook, water audits, etc. And let me also clarify that these are the activities or projects are not, I think, restricted to only 6 or 18 activities or projects. There are further designs, so there are further topics suggested in the Kaushal Bodh textbook itself for each grade, and the schools can then decide that if they want to expand beyond these projects, they can design it by themselves and start implementing those. So that's the idea. Each activity book will include 6 projects, like I said, and students are required to complete 3 projects per year. So in total, 3 years, 9 projects has to be completed. Quickly moving on, just understanding the pedagogical approach here. I wouldn't spend much time on this because this is largely given in how the practices are currently enabled in the school system. Learning by doing is something at the core of the Kaushal Bodh implementation. Then minimal teacher intervention. Teacher works as a facilitator there. There is a complete student-centric approach wherein we are encouraging students for inquiry and problem solving. And the last one is largely about local resource utilization, that how do we accumulate and how do we source resources which are locally available. And that's how the projects have also to be designed and implemented or chosen from the Kaushal Bodh textbook. Moving on, this is an important thing. What are the curricular goals for each Kaushal Bodh projects? One is that how do we help the child to master the core skills, the knowledge and the skills that are integrated in the projects. The second one is understanding the vocation. So what are the different vocations that are associated with that kind of skills or the projects? Third is around building essential values, which is about teamwork and integrity and responsibility. How do you take care of those? And the fourth one is largely that how do you then use these skills to contribute in and around in your home and the school ecosystem. So these are 4 major curricular goals that are listed in the Kaushal Bodh for all the grades. Now quickly moving on, what could be the timetable integration of Kaushal Bodh as per NCFSE? This is just a suggestive timetable, right? But the request is that at least 2 periods, if possible, may be given to the schools in the classes for each grade. So that's the expectation here. Assessment and evaluation. Assessment and evaluation largely takes care of written test, oral presentation, activity book, portfolio, and teacher's observation. This is how the assessment can be bifurcated. Rest the schools can decide for themselves that what will be the internal, what will be the summative assessment. So all that can be decided at the local level. Okay? Now coming to the idea of resources, tools and equipment. I think CBSE is already mandated in the circular number 75/2024 right, that composite skill lab has to be set up in all the schools, right? And having a functional skill lab is very important on that lens. Now, under this, I think one lab in multiple sectors can be incorporated to composite skill lab. The size and the definition have already been, I think, stated in the circular, so I wouldn't spend much time there. Okay. Now, this is a suggestive idea of how the layout of a composite skill lab could look like. Of course, this is suggestive and illustrative, and the schools can decide on their own and how they can improvise and how they can add more elements, or within the given resources, what the school can do best to optimize or have the labs in their schools. Now, coming to the overall training plan for Kaushal Bodh, we will be doing phase 1, like Apisa mentioned, phase 1 lead facilitator trainings, then the capacity building program for the master trainers, then the capacity building program for the teachers, which will be taken care by the master trainers, and then there will be a continuous support of feedback and monitoring with the schools on the implementation program. So the CBSE has a 3-tier cascading training implementation model. The first one is that CBSE National Leadership, under which we are also conducting this orientation for a wider audience across all states and geographies. Now, there is a lead facilitator training planned tomorrow onwards, under which the lead facilitators who have been identified will be trained on the delivery or on how do you conduct master trainer trainings in the next 2 days. These lead facilitators will further go and train master trainers. The master trainers will be identified through the RO regions, and these master trainers will then further conduct the training in the schools. So that's how the framework would look like, LF to MT, then to teachers, right? And the implementation of Kaushal Bodh is something that the teachers will further take forward in their schools. Master trainers will conduct teacher trainings through Center of Excellence or the CBSE regional offices. The detailed training plan will be shared shortly in the course of due time with all the selected participants. Now, there's a system level capacity building that is happening. One is that CBSE is designing its training manual and training frameworks. And then the lead facilitators will directly be trained by CBSE, right? They further train MTs. And again, like I said, the MTs will take to the schools for implementation. They will also act as the academic resource point for the schools under the jurisdiction. Now, roles and responsibilities, I wouldn't spend much time because they will be covered under the training as well. But LFs would largely be accountable to ensure that the master trainers are trained properly. They are able to conduct their trainings. They are also monitoring and supporting them and guiding them and tracking their training implementation. Similarly, master trainers would be requested or would be required to attend the persons in training at CBSE and then ensure adherence to CBSE approved training plans, coordinate with the regional offices, submit training attendance, reports and feedback to regional offices, and participate in review meetings and refresher orientations if that happens, as and when that happens by CBSE. Role of schools and principals is very critical here in order to ensure that implementation of Kaushal Bodh is as per the desired standards. Integration of Kaushal Bodh in the school timetable is something very important. Supporting of principals providing inclusive education, procurement of project materials, having the composite skill lab available, facilitate the annual Kaushal Mela to showcase student projects. There is a provision of organizing Kaushal Mela towards the end of the project. So that's something that principals would be requested to look into and facilitate that planning. So largely that, and I think role of teachers is something which is the most critical element here. Right? So selecting the projects, ensuring that the school completes 3 projects per year. Also, when you're looking at the projects, the teacher would be expected to look at the resources that are available and therefore decide in consultation with other teachers, other subject teachers, the principal, what projects should be implemented in the school. Promote hands-on learning and creative problem solving. So facilitate the session for the students to encourage creative thinking and problem solving skills, right? And then encouraging teamwork and inclusive participation to do things as much as hands-on and take them out and take them in an area where the students can really interact with each other and work on the projects, and then guide students in preparing exhibits for the Kaushal Mela. So the Kaushal Mela is something wherein the parents and the community can also be invited to see the kind of work that the schools and the students are doing. So with that, I think I end my presentation here. Aarti sir, if there's a time permission, we can take questions. I will end the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Anubhav, for the presentation. I hope many things have been made clear by Anubhav during this session. And at this point, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Vinay Sarup Mehrotra ji from NCRT to give us his viewpoint and address the gathering. Over to you, sir.
Namaskar and good afternoon. Am I audible?
Loud and clear.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So at the outset, I would like to thank
Yes, sir.
the chairperson of the CBSE, then Dr. Bishwajit Shah, Dr. RP Singh ji, and all the team of CBSE for inviting me to this August gathering of principals and teachers for the orientation program on the implementation of vocational education at the middle stage. I think there's some disturbance. Okay, fine.
Utkarsh
So-
ji, please mute your mic, and the question that please put in the comment box.
Okay. Right. So, thank you very much for inviting me to this very important session. And we'll be also meeting on 12th, where I will be there at the CBSE office for the orientation program. Now, with regard to the implementation of the vocational education or skill education, now we are calling, as per the National Education Policy 2020, we have to start skill education at an early age. And we should also understand the philosophy of the skill education and also the Kaushal Bodh activity book, which has been published by the NCRT. So this activity book was developed by the curricular area group for vocational education, and there was also a separate textbook development team. I was the coordinator and convener of that group, and we worked day and night to come out with this kind of activity book with a lot of discussions and thoughts going in for developing this activity book. Now, why I'm calling it as activity book? Because it has a lot of project-based learning activities included in the 3 work forms, which has already been mentioned by Dr. Shah and Dr. RP Singh and Anubhav Singh about that these projects are based on 3 work forms, that is your life form, machines and materials, and human services. Now, to understand this holistically, you need to also first understand the purpose and pedagogy behind the textbooks. So we have come out with the handbook on the implementation of vocational education at the middle stage, which has been published by NCRT, and the soft copy of this is available on the website of NCRT. So I would request you all to please download this handbook on the implementation of vocational education at the middle stage. And I'm sure it has been shared by Dr. RP Singh with you on the WhatsApp group. Now, what is the philosophy behind this? I'll quickly just go through the basic concepts. These are like competency-based teaching learning we have to promote. So when I say competency includes knowledge, skills, and attitude. So we have to work on all these 3 aspects when we are doing skill education. That's one. Second is, as mentioned by Dr. Shah, that we need to bring about that paradigm shift from rote learning to experiential learning. So teachers also have to be trained on the importance of experiential learning. We have been teaching subjects, and much of these subjects are being taught through lecture-based methods. And as a result, what is happening is that the students become passive learners. So they are just sitting and listening to the teachers. So when they engage into activities, whether it's a subject-based activity or the vocational activity, they enjoy learning. And it's a fun-based learning and joyful learning, and students, they really learn a lot. So for example, if you are doing a vermicompost activity in your school and all the teachers are there, let's say maths, science, social science, language, art teacher. So what they can do is they can ask students, let's say the art teacher says, draw a diagram of the earthworm or the bins or the biodegradable waste. The maths teacher tells, okay, measure the dimensions of the bin or the tank in which you are going to do the vermicompost. The science teacher explains about how the vermicompost is prepared by the earthworms and which earthworms are to be used. Not all the earthworms can be that voracious eaters of the biodegradable waste. So how do you differentiate? How are you going to identify? And what are the other organisms that actually convert the biodegradable waste into compost? So those kinds of discussions by these teachers will help students to learn a lot about science, maths, art, even social science. For example, Aristotle once said that earthworms are the best friends of farmers. So prove this statement. This is how the teachers can teach the various concepts behind science, maths, arts, and all those subjects. So this is where we have to focus on. This third important thing is hands-on learning. So learning by doing is very important. So if I take example of what we have done in early years, like we have actually mugged up various poetries or poems, like उठो लाल अब आंखें खोलो पानी लाई मुंह धोलो बीती रात का वल्दर फूले उसके ऊपर भवरे झूले Baba Baba black sheep have you any wool? Yes sir, three bags full. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall, Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. Now these were all mugged up, but if students are asked to make poems out of these, like let's say a poem on earthworm or compost, they will become creative and innovative. And this is what is required in this today's 21st century, where we need to develop not only the vocational skills, but also soft skills like decision-making skills, problem-solving skills, analytical skills, these design thinking skills. All these skills can be developed by giving them challenge. So challenging students is very important in today's world. So we have to give them real world scenarios or problem-based scenarios where they solve those problems. Then work-based education has been emphasized all over the years that students need to work. And through that, they learn the concept of dignity of labor. They actually, realize the importance of working with hands, the dignity of labor, and all those things. So the philosophy behind is that we have to focus on competency-based education. We have to focus on experiential learning, and we have to promote work-based education, for which, as has already been mentioned by Dr. Shah, Dr. R.P. Singh, that we need to prepare lead facilitators, mentors, skill teachers. Why I'm saying skill teachers? Because teachers have to really acquire these skills. If you want to transfer those skills to the students, you need to learn the skills first. Because if you don't possess all those skills, like if a biology teacher has never done agriculture before, how can she or he can teach agriculture? No. So it's very important that teachers should be trained on the various activities related to agriculture if you want to conduct those activities in your school. So that's very important. Then you need to familiarize yourself with the textbook or the activity book of Kaushal Bodh for grades 6, 7th, and 8th. So it has different activities, the projects which has been given there, the details of the projects have been given. So for each work form, we have mentioned 2 projects. So that means total of 6 projects have been detailed out in each of the activity book. Besides that, we have given as an extra one the list of the activities which can be taken up by the schools. And so the teachers can develop their own projects using the template which is given there. So, and what you have to focus on during the project-based learning is the learning outcomes. Why learning outcomes are very important? Because when we know that the children are going to be will be able to rather know and do those things. So it's not just about knowing, but also doing those things or the activities. Then there's a lot of transparency between the teacher and the taught. So we have to really focus on learning outcomes for the various activities, for which we need to have rubrics, and then the activities have to be conducted as per the learning outcomes. We have to also include cross-cutting themes when we are preparing our own projects, which include environment, social issues, Indian knowledge system, digital skills. Like in all these 3 books which I'm talking about, we have integrated artificial intelligence and digital means of making things or working on activities like coding. All those things have been integrated into the various projects. So subject integration is very important. Besides the concepts that you are going to teach, hands-on training, we have to focus demonstration of the various activities, identifying the local available resources. Like for example, in Northeast, bamboo is a common thing which is very available, and bamboo craft is a very common activity. So schools in Northeast can take up these bamboo handicraft work or the activities related to bamboo. Now, with regard to the pedagogical aspect, it is like project-based and experiential learning that is being promoted through this middle stage, that is grades from 6 to 8. We have to focus on inquiry-based learning, observation, reflection. So a lot of questions have already been included in the activity book for providing opportunities to the students to reflect upon what they have learned. Use of digital tools like the Google Lens and QR code, all those things have been included in the activity book. Students will be preparing the portfolios. So what they have done throughout the year needs to be compiled as a form of, this can even be an e-portfolio. So since we are now into the digital age, we can promote e-portfolio, scanning documents and putting it on so we'll be saving on a lot of paper that we utilize for making portfolios. Then assessment and evaluation. We have given the weightage to be given to the different assessment aspects, like teachers' observations, peer evaluation, self-evaluation or self-assessment. That is given in the preface of the book. You can read through that, what will be the procedure and what weightage needs to be given to the various aspects during assessment. So I'm not going to detail every aspect of it. And that's why I simply interacted with you, because presentation takes a lot of time, so I'm not going to make any presentation. However, I can take some questions from you. If you have any question, you can ask. Otherwise, I close this session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mehrotra sir, for detailing out the rationale behind the whole policy and the textbook design. Like you rightly said, it's not a textbook, it's more of an activity book. And we'll try to call it activity book only. So the activity book, once you go through the book, I would request all the participants who are listening and all the people who join on YouTube, please download the book and go through it. It's written very nicely. And it's a very lot of hard work has gone into writing that book. So in case any of you has queries, please raise your hand so that we can come to you one by one instead of just switching on your mic and asking the questions.
So there's a question there. How will Kaushal Bodh? Actually, it is BODH, both, and then contribute to the school's annual pedagogical plan. So as I mentioned that you need to include this as part of the annual academic calendar. So 110 hours have been allocated. So for each other project, you can allocate 30, 30, 30. And because students have to do 3 projects in a year, and the rest of the hours you put it for assessment and evaluation. Thank you.
Shalini ji has raised her hand. Shalini ji, you can ask the question.
Yeah, sir, I have the question how we are going to provide 165 period in the busy schedule timetable.
In this session or next session? The question is pertaining to which session?
So next session I'm talking about because the timetable is already so much packed and
This is related to only 110 hours, not 160 hours.
These are 110 hours. How we will be going to incorporate in it?
Have you seen the sample timetable given in the NCF document? So that means now you are spending more time on language and other subjects. So minimum 7 to 8 periods are being allotted to almost all the subjects. From the next academic session, all curriculums are being rationalized. So that way you have to put equal weightage to all the subjects. So mostly subjects are ranging from 110 hours to 130, 35 or max 40, 140 hours. So now this notional hours is minimum 160 to 170 hours for each subjects we are handling in the school, whether it is science, math, social science, and language. Almost equal weightage. But with the new curricular, whatever we are going to implement from the coming academic session, so wahan pe you are supposed to allot 110 hours. So 110 hours both for vocational subjects and even for the other subject. So I don't think it is a problem. Only you just look into the sample timetable given in the NCF document. It would be more clearer.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. We have another question from Principal Nadargul.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Number of period was one of my queries. Yes, that has been settled. Now, all these subjects, skill subject, as we are making them a part of our regular pedagogy, regular system, would they also be assessed and get reflected in the report card? And if yes, what would be the parameters, the rubrics, and will it be a part of the main subject or will it be reflected in altogether different subject as a different league of subject?
As far as assessment at the level of class 6 to 8 is concerned, the assessment would be school-based. It will be done in a manner which will be discussed in detail when we are doing the TOT program with the teachers. Also, the assessment policy as in the National Curriculum Framework, because from 6 to 8, the assessment of every activity that has been given in the Kaushal Bodh book is also covered there in the book itself. How to assess that activity has been given in the book itself. So that assessment will be done as part of the activities that are being done by the children, as part of the project, and also as part of the presentation skills of the child.
Right, sir. But will it be reflected in the report card?
Yes.
As a separate identity, or as an inclusive identity?
You have to include it in the report card, number one, and number two, as Professor Merutra has rightly mentioned, 3 projects each of 30 hours. So in this session also, if you like to add in the report card, you are free to do that, because in June we have issued the circular. So at least one project you try to implement in the school, at least one project, and from the Kaushal Bodh, other curricular activities can be carried out for another 20 hours. So 50 hours you can experience in this academic session itself. And in the coming academic session, another 2 projects, 30 plus 30 plus 30. And besides this assessment, it is, as RP Singh has rightly mentioned, we can carry out the assessment locally. And wherever you feel for a particular project, if child comes out with a indigenous or new idea, and you feel the teacher may need the support of some local artisans or someone, you can invite them for the assessment. No issue. Huh?
Right, sir. That we are doing. We will try to implement it even further. Thank you.
Dr. Sheila ji has asked that do we have to take only one activity? See, you have to take one activity per type of work. That means 3 activities, one for each type of work. In class 6, in class 7, as well as in class 8. The table that we had shown in the presentation, the activities that are given in the Kaushal Bodh textbook, they have given 2 activities for every kind of work, plus a list of 10 to 11 activities has also been given as an additional activities in case the school wants to do additional activities other than the one given in the textbook in detail. So you can do with that, and the detailed structure has been shared in the presentation, which will be also made available to everyone who has joined and will be part of the lead facilitator or the master trainer or the trained teachers in the group. So at every level, we will provide you with all the necessary resources also.
And let me repeat, these are all sample activities. We are not limiting school to only look into this activity. Rather, if you can explore and you can come up with different kind of activities, the model activities are given. So now you may offer this one or something which you feel locally more relevant. You can also design such kind of activities on your own.
Any more questions that we can address? We had a question about the SOP for the Composite Skill Lab that will be made available very shortly on the CBSE website also. Will they get the separate, ma'am, the separate certificate that Ms. Kiran Dalal wants to have a query is regard to 10th and 12th. Well, the activities that you are doing for 6 to 8 are school-based activities, and the school can definitely give the children a certificate for completing those activities. In case you are doing modules from the CBSE website, other than the ones that are there in the Kaushal Bodh textbook, and you are doing it as part of the credit framework, then you can download the certificate for completing those activities and get a certificate with the credits mentioned on that. Sir, would you like to add something to that?
Fine, because different kind of activities, and especially for 6 to 8, I think the school-based assessment and also certification is enough for the child. For 10th and 12th, I think the board is going to issue a separate certificate. Here it is not essential, but maybe later on we'll think through. Huh?
Seema has inquired about including foreign language in the skill. Ma'am, as of now, we are limiting to the activities given.
You reserve this question for now. We can answer her separately, and moreover, we are working on that agenda. We may come out comprehensive plan. We'll share in due course of time.
Rajiv Pandey has asked about where the books can be procured. I would like to inform that these books are available on the CBSE website as well as on the NCERT website. They are also available on Amazon and the NCERT portal. The Kaushal Bodh textbooks can be procured from there. However, if you wish to get the handbook, that is available in soft copy on the NCERT website. Any other question that we can address here? Okay, so with this, we would like to conclude today's orientation session. I hope that the basic idea you all have understood. And as you go on into the trainings and into more details, I would request you, everyone to go through the activity book that has been printed by NCRT, the Kaushal Bodh activity book, which is available on the CBSE academic website as well as on the NCRT website. Wish you all the best wishes for implementing it in the spirit it has been designed. And thank you to Dr. Biswajit Saha, Professor and Director, Department of Skill Education, CBSE, Professor Mehrotra from NCRT, the team from CBSE who has been doing the whole IT behind the scenes, and the team of all the officers who have been great presentation, Anubhav and his team presentation, and most importantly to all the participants who have joined us and on Google Meet as well as on YouTube. Thank you for your time and for attending and understanding. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.